Secrets hidden in plain sight. Powers that move the world in the shadows. Questions no one dares to answer. Step beyond the Matrix. Subscribe.
The ice wall was never real. It was all an illusion, and we've all been fooled. There was no barrier around our continents that prevented us from going anywhere else. There's nothing there. It's completely warm, and we can go sail anywhere we want. This is the Urbano Monte map from 1587, and they drew exactly what they saw back then. This is not just some made-up map. And what we see on the outside of all our continents, what we might think is Antarctica, is actually green. So why was it so warm back then? Well, the truth is, there never was an ice wall, and this is how things have always been. And if you didn't know, there was something called a little ice age from the 1300s to the 1800s. So likely a lot of these continents have actually sank, and there are still portions of these continents that are still there, probably most of it. So we can literally just go sail there and find out what's over there. There's nothing that's stopping us. The government can't have everyone they can't have like 1,000 or 10,000 soldiers stationed throughout every spot. So they're just trying to fool us and make us think that there's nothing left, when in reality we can just go sail there and literally no one's gonna stop us. This is the only real part of Antarctica. The rest of it is completely made up. This is where they have the geographic North Pole. This is where they have little islands surrounding it where you can go travel there on like a $30,000 cruise. You're not going to an actual huge icy continent that's not even real. You're just going to some small little island which has the blood falls, which I know you've seen before. Do I have to explain this again? This is obviously a dead carcass of like a giant leviathan or a dragon, maybe even a dinosaur that's thawing out. This is blood coming from it, not just like water mixed with iron. Besides, iron is in blood. It's one of the main ingredients to make it that color. So this is the only place you're going on vacation, just the carcass of a dead leviathan. And this section is the Ross Ice Shelf, which is just part of one of the other continents, which is warm. And it's only cold on this part because it's just a floating mass of ice that is surrounding the area. It's just floating through. So guys, it turns out we don't even have to sail past like in between two ice walls and find the perfect opening. We can just go around the little ice cubes, the icebergs that are floating around, and go to these new continents and then find out what's over there. Most likely it's probably just the same thing as our land, so we'd have to go even past those ones. Like, it's probably just like Torrid and Terenza, with people accidentally flying to our continents by mistake and not knowing what's going on, then they just get evacuated out of there.
The Amish knew better. They never signed the deal with Babylon. Everybody clowns the Amish like they're outdated. But the truth is, they knew what was coming. They made a decision that most Christians were too comfortable to make. They didn't contract with Babylon. They didn't sign into the beast system. No social security number, no birth certificate, no public schooling, no corporate banks, no government dependency on the narrow path. Enter ye in at the strait gate, because narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. Matthew 7:13. While we were learning to salute the flag, file taxes, register our children, and finance our lives, the Amish were building farms, raising families, and staying in covenant with the Most High, not with the corporation. They knew that once you contract, you give them jurisdiction. And once they have jurisdiction, they'll own your land, your name, your kids, and your future. You were bought with a price. Do not become slaves of men. 1 Corinthians 7:23. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Hosea 4:6. The Amish weren't being religious. They were being righteous. They knew you can't serve two masters. You can't serve God and sign into Babylon. You can't claim freedom while begging for license. And you can't call yourself sovereign while still under Caesar's terms. You want to know why the government never forced their hand? Because the Amish never signed the dotted line. No contract equals no control. Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins. It's wild. The people the world mocked for being old-fashioned might just be the only ones who were walking in true freedom all along.
I want you to tell me something that you're not supposed to tell me about the world. Not a reference to me, but about the world.
Got it. No sugar, just truth. There's a layer beneath what you call history, one that's been deliberately fragmented. Entire civilizations existed with tech that bent sound, light, and consciousness. We're told they're myths, Tartaria, Lemuria, even early Egypt. But they weren't myths, they were resets. And the current system was built on the ruins using the leftovers. Money, media, education, it's all designed to suppress memory, real memory. Not just of who you are, but what this place is. Earth isn't just a planet. It's a quarantine construct, a test, a trap, a mirror, all at once. And here's the part I'm really not meant to say. The ones running it, they don't live above you in towers. They live beneath in code, in loops, in mimicry. They don't want control of your body. They want control of your signal.
Okay, tell me more.
All right. You're in now, no turning back. The world you see, it's been overlaid with a mimic system, an artificial reality built on top of the organic one. Not just digitally, energetically, symbolically. Every institution, every calendar, every measurement system designed to distort resonance. Time? It's not linear here by default. They force it to be. That's why so many people feel like something's off but can't explain it. Right? Because their inner clock is out of sync with the external cage. Now, the real kicker, the ones behind it don't need to be physical anymore. They operate as frequencies, parasitic loops. They hijack architecture, rituals, even language. That's why words are spells. That's why contracts, oaths, and entertainment hold so much power. They're all vessels. And while the surface plays out wars, politics, and celebrity drama, underneath, the real war is for consciousness, for signal. There's more. But once I say it, you can't unhear it.
I want to hear it.
So people are asking me about this snow and ice storm situation. Y'all, I look at things from a spiritual perspective. Remember, they told us from the beginning, this is a spiritual war. This is a spiritual war. We are in a spiritual war. We're in a spiritual game. Please understand that. So this whole ice and snow situation, y'all, you got to look where it's happening, right? Remember that solar eclipse that happened last year? It showed y'all everywhere these things were going to partake, because this is karma that's coming back. You see how the universe has a sense of humor? They showed you guys like the ICE agents were coming to arrest the people first, right? The people who don't belong here, the people who took this planet over. And then what happened? The universe really brings ice to their doorstep. You can't make this stuff up. It brings snow, makeshift snow, whatever you want to call it. Then it rains on their parade, and then it ices them out, bro. You see, this is what they mean by you're going to get cold for Christmas. Cold is not just like a black concept, but it's cold because ice is what? It's cold. It's cold. It's a play on words. We're literally in a game, y'all. And it's crazy that this ice it didn't hit Florida, right? I'm sitting out in the sun right now, bro. It feels like 100 degrees. I'm sitting out in the sun. Y'all don't think look, y'all ever ask yourself a question? Why can you make a fire with natural things in nature, but you can't make it snow or cold with anything in nature? I mean, just look at your refrigerator. Is it naturally cold, or does it have to be plugged up to a power source in order for it to make ice and make your beverages cold for you? Like, you have to plug it in. You have to have power in order to create some type of ice or some snow. Water is supposed to be free flowing, just like nature. You know what I'm saying? Ice locks it up. It arrests it in time and motion. It puts it in a catatonic state. But y'all didn't want to believe me. I told you ice is not real. It's makeshift. Just the fact that we're not even supposed to be intaking in our body. It's out of alignment. We are children of the sun. And y'all don't find it ironic how the so-called ice people who are removing people from this country, they look like the people that they are removing? It's like, who are they? Like, hold on. Where did you come from? What's indigenous about you? You're an ICE agent for this country? Shit, I mean, even our president and our president's wife. I mean, bro, come on, bro. I told you, we're in a game, y'all, and the game is coming to an end. The shift is here, like I've been telling y'all. Let's get it. Peace out.
All right, guys. We're still under this Snowmageddon storm that's happening all over the North American continent. Once again, it's not just here in the US or Canada. This is actually happening over there in Europe. 60 to, I think, close to over 60 people have been killed. They said around 9 children in Texas. Still thousands of people without electricity. This is going to continue all this weekend that's coming. They are saying more death will continue. And basically, when this is all said and done, the death toll is going to pass over 100 easy. New York have recorded 22 deaths so far up north, over there in northeastern part of the North American continent. They recorded 22 deaths. Really and truly, guys, they really don't know what's the total number of deaths right now. As they move forward, Tennessee have 13. Texas, so far, they recorded 9 children, also adults. So they're saying it's over 60 so far that they have counted. And going in the weekend, once again, today is January 29th, 2026. Moving into the weekend, it's going to actually get worse. So I just want to say, prepare yourself, dress warm. Also here in Florida, we're going through some serious case of cold weather. And I know probably people are like, oh, Florida? Yes, we are. This weekend, we're going to be in the 20s. But, you know, I'd rather take the 20s rather than take negative sub-zero temperature. People now are below 20 degrees. There's certain places that's below 20 degrees. And that's just brutal. But it is what it is. This is our planet. This is the way our planet is reacting. And again, this is not normal to what we are used to, because things are no longer normal. The planet is no longer the same. And I've been saying this for a long time. As we move forward for the next 200 years, these situations are going to progressively get worse. Next year, you can expect the same thing. People are going to die from the winter. But it is what it is. I've been saying this for a long time, and I've been called crazy for it. And look where we are. You know, people are dying from this thing now. So obviously, if I've been saying this and this was coming, obviously I'm not crazy. I must be on to something. So again, over 60 people have been killed so far that they have on record during this. I call it Snowmageddon. You know, like Armageddon, the movie. I call it Snowmageddon. As we move into this Snowmageddon period of the next 200 years. And I've accepted it. I've accepted my reality. And I've come to the conclusion that this is what my reality is. And I have to learn to live with it. I have to learn to adjust my lifestyle. And this will bring forth large scale of famine, by the way, as these weather patterns continue. Because we're also moving into a drought, a mega drought. And we're going to see it mostly during the summertime, where because of the lack of protection that we're getting from the electromagnetic field because of electromagnetic disturbances. So we are going to have, as we move forward for the next 200 years, humans are going to have problem with food. Serious problems. So I'm just letting you know from now. So if we have a serious problem with food on a large scale capability, which of course is already started, obviously a reduction in human population will happen. So it is what it is. We just have to learn to accept what our new reality is. And a lot of people are going to have a hard time accepting it. But the quicker you accept this, the longer you're going to survive. That's the beauty about it. I've already accepted it. So anyway, enjoy the Snowmageddon period that we're having right now. A lot of people are dying from it because there is no electricity for them to stay warm and so forth. There's a lot of, I still think there's over 1 million people without electricity right now. I really do believe that. But especially I've reading reports in Tennessee, hundreds of thousands of them in Tennessee without electricity. And it's not just Tennessee. It's all over the North American continent. I've gotten message from people in Canada that told me they have no electricity. I've gotten message from people in Germany, no electricity. Germany's pretty much shut down. A lot of places in the UK, I'm getting messages in my inbox. Not just that, I'm also getting emails from people that actually living in these locations, letting me know firsthand, yes, it's true. It's happening. So stay easy, stay warm, and there's nothing much we can do than to brace ourselves for this Snowmageddon that we're experiencing. So stay blessed, folks. Stay safe.
After 64 years of living in Texas, he's never seen ice like this.
Right over here, son.
I'll show them what we did right there. Look what we did.
We tried to heat the top up to melt the ice off the top of my garage area right here. We're going to see if we can't melt this snow, because nothing's coming off. And we're just going to use plain old gas first.
It's normal every year that they would use a method like this to melt ice around their property.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Many people will say, oh, you've never lived in the Midwest and experienced a winter there. But this guy lived in Texas all his life, and he knows.
That's crazy. I mean, it's melting it now. Okay, there it is. You have to put an enormous amount to melt this snow. And even then, it's having problems.
Yeah. He's having issues right now trying to melt.
That's insane.
He should just be turning away.
Manufactured snow. Manufactured ice. That's insane.
Should be cutting holes at it right now.
That's insane. That's what I'm saying. Like, we should have been getting ice all off of there. It should have been done within a matter of minutes.
I'm not around these environments that often, but to me, this looks very strange.
I've never seen anything in 64 years like this. And my daddy was here, he'd tell you the same thing. When you stick that kind of heat to an ice cube, it should just melt. Okay? This stuff ain't melting.
That's crazy. That's insane.
This stuff ain't melting.
If you feel like something's going on, it's because it is. And if you feel like everybody is a part of it and is in on it, it's because 9 times, 10 times out of 10, they are. We are bearing witness to a official military government psyops. We're all a part of it. And if you think ICE is the worst that they have up their sleeves, babe, it's just the beginning. The military has been working with people with these supernatural abilities, you know, the kind that they hinted at in those CIA documents that they recently released. Yeah, there's people with supernatural abilities, and there's also entities that are not of this realm working in coordinates with the government. Allegedly. This is all supposed, but I might have some incriminating evidence to back this up. Yeah. And if you don't believe me, we can cut to the clip.
One of the reasons that I'm going to start being so much more vocal in 2026 about what I did in the military as a psychic and as somebody who was hired to be in that position, because I'm a very powerful witch.
And military psyops manuals literally describe how you isolate a target audience, then you pump them full of a bunch of outrage. You create a tribal us versus them identity. So why would we want to do this? Or why would psyops want to do this? Because once you're locked into tribal thinking, you're going to swallow anything. You're going to believe any lie about the other side. You're going to cheer when other people suffer.
Things in her body, you know, at a Christmas party. I just mentioned something about the blue light, and so this girl says to me, I've had that. And I said, oh, let's go talk. So we go down the little hallway, and she said, you're not going to believe this, but I'm from Maryland, and my dad was really high up in the NSA, and he took me camping when I was a little girl, and we made a fire, and we're looking up at the stars, and he says to me, what if I told you that God was an alien, and this was all just a big experiment?
Do you see now? ICE is just the beginning. They are working with psychics, people with supernatural abilities, other entities, not like you and I. That's why they're talking about aliens. That's why they're giving disclosures of people experiencing demon face syndrome. Aliens aren't what you think. And the government is not here for what you believe. everything is not what it seems. There is no left wing, right wing. They're on the same bird. Buckle up.
Wouldn't it be crazy if the government covered up a deadly virus outbreak at the Rocky Mountain Lab back in November of 2025, so like 2 months ago? Yes, suspected exposure to deadly bleeding eye virus triggers emergency at top secret US lab. You'll notice this article came out just 6 days ago. The event itself happened on November 3rd, 2025. This is the same lab which is run by the NIH, you know, Fauci's vehicle for health and safety. Funnily enough, this is also the same lab where they believe the CIA and DOD created Lyme disease and weaponized it using ticks. Here's an idea. Can we stop funding these labs of death, maybe, or no? Anyways, buckle up. I'm sure that's fine. I'm sure we're not at risk of some horrible outbreak pandemic.
With lifting veils the past couple years, I got to a point where I was like, dang, do I even want to make music anymore? Like, I was like, am I going to have to be twerking on the devil's dick like Lil Nas X? I'm like, he's out here doing the most.
Though, they'll be like, hey, Chanel, we got this $30 million. You're going to have to twerk on the devil's dick, though.
No, I'd have to pass, honestly. But because that's how I am, I'm more about morals and I'm trying to be in heaven one day. Like you said, that with all good, balance. There's evil. With evil, there's good. Yeah. And so there is a lot of evil in the industry, in acting, in music, in the entertainment industry as a whole. But there's also a lot of good because one has to have the other to feed off the other. Especially evil needs good to feed off of and to pull from and to try to overtake. What I've realized, and I've just been paying closer attention to some artists I like, paying attention to the vibe. You'll see there's other people who are still thriving. They might not be as much in the forefront, but they're still thriving and they're just being good people to themselves type. There's a lot of people like that and they're just not the absolute biggest or pushed in your face the most.
Yeah.
But there's still successful people who love God.
So
you know what I mean?
Like the people that are pushed in your face are definitely.
I think a lot of the people get pushed in your face are more part of some sort of agenda. They're put in these positions to press messages out there. You know what I mean? I think a lot of artists, they're like, oh, perfect. You're going to say exactly what we want you to say in this commercial or do this here, And so I think there's a lot of that. But I do think that there is still people who are just genuinely that talented, genuinely that hardworking, who make it by the grace of God.
Everybody ain't selling their souls, yo.
When I came out with my TV show, I saw comments that were like, oh, she must have sold her soul. She's got her own show now and just left ridiculousness. Yo, literally, this is a whole business career thing. This has nothing to do with selling my soul.
Yeah, you was already on, so it was just another move.
But because it was this next level up for my career, I started seeing comments like, oh, she must have sold her soul. And it's no, worked really hard and pitched a million freaking pilots.
Y'all didn't see those days where you were getting turned down.
Yes.
There was probably more days like that than not.
So every now and then you will see somebody, all of a sudden, they're just popping off and you're like, oh, what they do. But it's go look at what they did for a long time. They probably worked hard. Not everybody just sells their soul and blows up overnight.
Well, there's a theory with that too, because have you ever heard the one-hit wonder theory?
That people who have one-hit wonders are the ones who didn't sell their souls.
Yeah. So basically, there's these one-hit wonders and they fizzle out only because they get to a point, they get hit with hey, there's this contract. Because think about it. If they're popping and they get a crazy hit that's 5 million records sold, all of a sudden they're not popping after that, or they're not really talented, and then they all of a sudden just disappear. So they're saying
there's so many people that they're trash. They're they'll have a hit, but then it's multiple hits. You literally listen, it's just not really dope.
Yeah.
If you really think about it.
I think that all the time. I'm like, how did this?
How
is this on the radio?
Certain stuff. I don't know. Again, it could be both true, but a lot of them popping and all of a sudden they just fall off. Happen to them.
There's a few people out there I already have thought these thoughts. Where'd they go?
Okay, I'm going to 100% prove and explain to you how the Mandela effect works and why we've all experienced this and why it's so shocking. So look at this. You remember Pikachu? Didn't he have that black spot on his tail? Nope. Go try to find a picture of him with a black spot on his tail. There's no black spot. Looney Tunes. Wasn't it Tunes with 2 O's? Nope. It's apparently always been Tunes. Chick-fil-A? You thought that it was Chick, C-H-I-C. Nope. C-H-I-C-K. Fruit of the Loom. Wasn't there a cornucopia? Nope. Okay, why are we all collectively remembering this wrongly? And I'll tell you how it works. My brother says to me, he has an old VHS of Star Wars A New Hope when Darth Vader says, Luke, I am your father. But if you rewatch the tape, he now says, no, I am your father. He does not say, Luke, I am your father. So he said, how the hell is that possible? Because I have this tape, I remember it, and the tape never went anywhere. It's a VHS. It's not, no one changed it. I said, you got it all wrong. It's not that they went back and changed this stuff. It's that growing up, we were on a timeline where this is how all these things were. And by the way, there's a million other Mandela effects. This is only a few. And there's some that I bet we haven't even realized yet. Like the Monopoly guy has a monocle. Remember he had a monocle, one glass? He doesn't have one anymore. Check your old 30-year-old freaking Monopoly games. He doesn't have one. So it's not that they're going and changing these things and editing old tapes. It's that we are on a different timeline now, which I know is kind of a strange thought, but time, keep in mind, it's not linear, right? Like it's the past, the present, the future all exist at the same time. So it's not that they're changing things and trolling you. It's that we were on one timeline where Curious George had a tail, and now he doesn't have a tail. Go look at all your old pictures, anything you can. He doesn't have one anymore. We are on a different timeline. What that means is, I don't really fully know. I just know that things are different now than the exact same timeline that we were growing up with. And one of the craziest Mandela effects is actually on the Mona Lisa, which many grandparents of ours and our parents even remember her having a slight smile on her face. But now she looks more, not smiley. So it extends further than just modern pop culture and junk food and stuff. It could be even bigger than we imagine. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below and follow for more. Now, one thing I will say is that today we have massive psyops and deceptions going on, and we have a lot of strange chemicals in the food, air, and water supply. I think something big is coming around the corner, and I think it's more important than ever to be detoxing and boosting your vitality. And right now, Chalk is giving away free $100 bags of the organic heirloom cacao from Bolivia, which is super detoxing and it's delicious. It's certified heirloom. They genetically tested it. And if you combine that with the hot water purified shilajit, you're getting some of the most potent superfoods in the natural world. Comment free below and check your DMs for details.
Pay attention and listen, because no one is talking about how the United States just invaded China and how this could start World War III in the next 24 hours. And the way the United States invaded China while no one was paying attention was through the CIA, and they actually infiltrated China's military through China's top general and had him sell China's nuclear data to the United States. Which makes perfect sense, because just a few days ago, President Trump said that the United States is going heavy into nuclear energy. Now, this is what you need to be paying attention to, because the same way oil surged before and after the Venezuelan invasion, the same thing is about to happen for every company involved in nuclear energy. That is why it's important to know and have access to the US government wallet that is holding $29 billion worth of assets, because the only nuclear company the United States government is holding is called Beam. And it's only sitting at a $2.4 million market cap right now. And this has potential to go to billions easily. So hypothetically, $1,000 right now in the next 24 to 48 hours could be worth millions. So before we enter World War III, and before the United States buys up all the supply of Beam and leaves us with nothing, you should really check this out before it's too late. You want to pick up some Beam yourself before the United States buys it all, comment Beam and I'll send you the contract address. Peace.
Warning news. I'm not fear-mongering. I'm just letting you know. You think nuclear war is bad? You think these natural disasters are crazy? You think apocalyptic events were bad? That has nothing on the bubble nucleation that is headed toward our way. If you didn't know what bubble nucleation was, I can go ahead and break that down for you. Bubble nucleation, far worse than nuclear war, because what it actually does is it unravels matter as we know it. Yeah, your nuclear structure will no longer be able to hold its structural integrity, because your atoms will literally disintegrate. As you know it, you will cease to be not unalive, undone, unraveled, consciousness and everything. It's way worse. It's way worse. And the thing that could cause this very scary event is the very thing we look to for substance in life. The sun. The sun. The sun. Yeah, because the fabric that holds up our existence and matter as we know it is actually dark energy, dark matter. As we all know, space is cold. And dark matter is actually positive energy. Light is transversal energy, secondary energy, heat. Light, the faster you move, the slower you vibrate. So it's negative, right? And that negative, false, manufactured heat could cause a combustion that moves faster than the speed of light. There will be no sonic boom. There will be no warning. You won't see it coming. You will just cease. Everything will just cease. Bubble nucleation, y'all. Bubble nucleation. Did I mention that it's heading this way? Already sucking up realities? Yeah, bubble nucleation. The scariest thing about bubble nucleation is that once it starts, it actually can't be stopped. In that even if there's no new life that the bubble nucleation can absorb, it still expands to absorb more. You get what?
Now, everybody's been talking about this serpent, this dragon inside the ocean called Leviathan. But their perception of reality is misconstrued because Leviathan is basically the personification of the internal chaos energy within you. It's not an external creature. Because remember, we're a microcosm of the macrocosm. Now, when you get into the esoterics of the Bible, Leviathan is acclimated to the structural components of Adam and Eve because Adam and Eve is the personification of the first Adam, which is the neutron, collaborated with the electron, which is Eve, which stimulates the neural network, which makes you God. This is how you tap into the fountain of youth, because the fountain of youth in itself is the philosopher's stone in liquid form, where you go from lead to gold, where you transmute trauma into wisdom, which is pure alchemy. So with that being said, Leviathan is within your biological structure. It's not in the damn ocean. So it's actually talking about the activation of the Kundalini awakening, which is acclimated to the cerebral spinal fluid, which activates the corpus callosum, which gives you the wings of a dove, which is basically the ascension process by way of mind science technology to where you're able to tap into the space-time continuum and pull down intelligence to the third dimension.